For all the DIYers out there and all the backyard mechanics out there, listen to this video. Let's talk about a problem that the CRX was having. The problem was that these cluster lights were not coming on. So while we were driving one night, it just dead. No more lights. Now, the first thing I checked was the fuse, and the fuse was popped. However, though, I put another fuse in, and it popped immediately. What does that mean? That means we have a current problem going on. And you know what's the last thing you need to do? Put in a bigger fuse. If you put in a bigger amp fuse, you are just going to make the problem worse, potentially. If you have a fuse panel with a diagram on it, it's going to tell you the amp fuse that you need to be putting in there. I know some Fords are tricky with it, and I know some newer cars are really a pain in the ass when it comes to that, and you have to look up on a database like ALLDATA or Protoman. But by putting in a bigger amp fuse, you're allowing more amps to that circuit than it was intended. Therefore, it can do damage. And let me show you the reason why it was popping that fuse. Since this car has been ran through by 11 owners, there's all kinds of tricks and quirks and features on this. So I just added these, which is the professional way to do the job. Don't use the cheap butt connectors that you can get. Get the heat shrinking ones off of Amazon. So those were just hanging wires, a little bit were exposed, and they were definitely tapping on something, maybe a hot tap to a ground. I have no idea. All I know, something was rubbing in there. And I know someone might say, no, the proper way is to solder it and stuff like that, but you have to understand something. Those wires are already short as is. I'm gonna have to add wire, solder that on, and then I'm gonna have hanging wires again. It's just never gonna be an end story. But just for reference, this is the kit that I have. It's like 20 bucks on Amazon. It pretty much has everything you need, and you just take a lighter to this end and melt it down to where it touches the wire. And the last thing that I should see you doing is taking two wires, rubbing them together, and then putting tape over it. That is such a jackass way of doing it. Those things are so freaking cheap that if you're cheaping out over that, I don't even want to see the rest of the car. Seriously, do it right.